What's up, Blazers and Blazonettes? So, my countdown to Marvel's The Punisher um, ends in this review for Punisher Warzone. So, yeah, Marvel's The Punisher will start streaming next Friday. No words can describe how excited I am. But yeah, here's my review for Punisher Warzone, and there's gonna be spoilers in this review. So if you have not seen the movie, that is your warning. Go watch the movie. Check it out. If you are a Punisher fan or if you enjoy action and crazy action, go check out the movie. So I assume you're gone now. Come on back when you see the movie. But when I heard about this movie being made, I was not sure if it was a sequel to the 2004 movie. That's where I had concerns because Thomas Jane didn't come back, and they had a new actor playing the Punisher. I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about this. But hearing that this is not a sequel to, this is not a sequel. This is just this movie stands on its own, like the other two movies did. That's where I started to embrace it with open arms. I'm like, okay, cool. Um, not only do we get a legit Punisher movie where he's fucking killing people, killing the mob and all that stuff, but also the villain is they pick one of his characters, one of his villains from the comics, and that's pretty cool. But also unfortunate because he has the same name as Jigsaw, from the Saw franchise. But this character was named Jigsaw first, so basically they took that name from this character. And yeah, there is some cheesy acting outside of Ray Stevenson's portrayal, and basically all the bad guys in the movie are super, super, super cheesy, and all the good guys, are give a well done performance. And again, Ray Stevenson, he was a great Punisher, and this is not an origin story. This is also like another movie, like the Dolph Lundgren movie, like where he's been the Punisher for about like a few years, and then we see brief flashbacks of him as Frank Castle, but it's mainly focused on him as the Punisher. And in this movie, like how in the other movies, like we only see the Punisher kind of grieve like once in the Dolph Lundgren version, and he grieves very heavily in the 2004 one because that is an origin story, and he grieves heavily mostly on his wife. But here, he grieves mostly. He does grieve for for his wife and kids, but you see him more as a grieving father in this movie, and that's a more acceptable approach in my opinion. And when you see him grieve, like when he visits their grave, it really hits you. It really, really hits you. Like in the 2004 movie, like when you see him grieve, that did hit you too. But there's just something about here where it's just like, wow. Like where he's trying to rub the tombstone, and he's hitting it, and then he just starts to break down. Man, and like after each incarnation, it just like with the Dolph Lundgren version, you're like, I feel bad, but it's not hitting me quite yet. And then the 2004 movie came around, it's like, okay, this is it could have, it's not as brutal as you would think, but it's still brutal. But here, like when you see him thinking back to losing his family, that hit me harder. That hit me a lot harder. And to add some, to add some emotional, add an emotional like element to the movie, the Punisher kills a good guy who's basically undercover trying to disguise himself, pretending to be with the mob. But the Punisher didn't know that until after he killed him, and then he saw the mic, like under his shirt, and that basically he carries that monkey on his back through, like half of this movie, and that almost pushes him to retire. But yeah, there is no such thing as retirement with that guy, and And Jigsaw. I mean, like he's. I mean, I I'm okay with how over the top he was. Like and all the villains were. And my most favorite character and like favorite villain in this movie, it has to be Looney Bin Jim. I mean, like when he says that line, my has to be one of my favorite lines in the movie where he says, "I'm gonna get my applesauce back." I mean, I just get such a thrill out of him saying that line, and there is some silly dialogue in this movie, and I enjoy it, and some of the violence is really it's like the 2000. Remember the PS2 video game that's basically like where it kind of follows the 2004 movie, but not really. But Thomas Jane voices the Punisher in that game. Well, this is like the movie version of that game, like where you see him punch somebody. It's like his fist goes through their face, and it's like what, and then he kicks a chair into someone's face, and it's just like what the fuck, and he butts somebody's head, and then and it looks like as if like piece like it looks like he was hit by a train or some shit. Like, well, I mean, the violence is fucking crazy. I mean, like, I just loved how crazy the violence was. It's like, yes, this is the Punisher movie that I have wanted. Even though, I mean, I can understand with the 2004 movie, it's an origin and you want to see him evolve or devolve into the Punisher. But here, man, if you are a Punisher fan, I don't see how you cannot enjoy this movie unless you hate cheesy violence and cheesy acting. I mean, it's fun. It's a damn fun movie. I had a lot more fun with this movie than I thought I was going to. So it was a very pleasant surprise. I went into it thinking like, this might be okay. I don't know. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. So that's a much better experience as opposed to being really, really super hyped over a movie and then you walk out of the theater like, okay, well, what the fuck was that garbage? But this is the exact opposite. The tables are the exact opposite with this movie. So with that all being said, I'd say this deserves 4.5 chair spins out of 5. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.5 chair spins. So yeah, I can't believe that I got through my countdown to Marvel's The Punisher so quickly. Only 3 movies. And then, John Bernthal's portrayal as the Punisher in Daredevil Season 2. Oh, that was great. That was great. I can't wait to see more of that. Him on his own and not really stealing the spotlight from anybody. We're actually in his spotlight. And, man. I mean, I'm kind of okay that this movie did not get a sequel, even though I would have loved for that to happen. But I know that a lot of people are going to be super picky and not really, not really care for it. I mean, like if you're not a fan of the character already, then I guess you may not really care. I mean, maybe you will. I don't know, but it's a very underrated movie, in my opinion. And a lot of people may say, "Oh, but the acting and blah blah and the violence," but still, I loved the fuck out of it. I actually enjoyed all 3 of the movies, and I don't know how to rate them. It's really tough between this one and the Dolph Lundgren version, but and I would feel bad, knocking the 2004 movie down to like the very bottom because it's an origin story, so I can't really bash it too much. But the other end, with the Dolph Lundgren version and this one, him and the main villains when it came to the final act of the movie where he faces, I guess Johnny Franco was not necessarily a main villain, but still, he was the last villain standing, and it came down to the Punisher having a big throwdown with, the main baddie of the movie, and with this one and then the Dolph Lundgren version, he actually gets a few licks in, and they get a few licks on him before he kills them. 2004 one, we didn't get it. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed my review for this movie, make sure you thumb up the video, quick subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I mean, wow. Uh the show is gonna take over my weekend like next week. Holy crap! And I cannot think of a better way to spend my weekend. So yeah, you guys enjoy, and I'll be doing my review for that whole season of The Punisher when after that starts streaming after I get all caught up. So yeah, until then, I'll see you guys in that video. Peace out, y'all.